Santos Chronicles, written by Jayden Porter, art by Matthew Morales.
Let us tell you about a story about a fantastic teacher. The day was August 7th, 2024, Jayden's birthday. It also was the first day of sophomore year, so it wasn't definitely going to be the best day. Me and my friends went to all of our classes and met all of our teachers. At first, I just thought my teachers were alright. Miss Lewis was talking about some prerogative. Miss Jordan, who was pretty chill, but there was one teacher we didn't know yet, but was going to be the best teacher we've had. He had it all. The catchphrases, the stories, the aura. He was unmatched. His name was Mr. Dion Santos. August, Era 1, the freaky era. That first month of school will always be the freakiest when it comes to Mr. Santos. To be honest, me and my friends thought he was a super freak. 100%. Especially with the requirement he has us do every day before we enter his classroom. He would make you shake his hand every time when you walked in. It also had to be a firm grip too. That rings some bells in my mind. And to be clear, me and Jada were the only ones who actually had him. He taught us algebra too, but only for like 10% of the class. The other 90% were just stories. They were insane at times. I will never forget the time he told Jayden's class about his 2 wives. Another reason why we thought he was a freak is just because in my 4th period, he said he preferred blondes over redheads. And the craziest part, 40% of my class were blondes. But it wouldn't be long before we learned how tough his legacy would be.
September, November. Era 2. Stories and catchphrases. Now, I never had Mr. Santos' class, and that's a huge bummer for sure, but trust me, I know Mr. Santos. Jayden would be the one to tell me all of the insane stuff Mr. Santos would be saying. First off, he's a massive business enthusiast, and when I say massive, I mean massive. He has stated that he has a ton of backup jobs, and to continue off of the 2 wives story, apparently it was really hard for him to just choose one. If I remember correctly, it was whoever's cooking was better. Some insane lore to drop in your class. Don't forget when he randomly mentioned that he has a criminal record. I don't think I want to know what for, but the best part about Mr. Santos is all his catchphrases. Let's start with the big 3. First off, we have his life motto, business first. This catchphrase is so unbelievably tough, it's insane. Number 2 is of course plug and chug, which just means to plug something in and chug something out. But just the way he says it is so tough. And the big number 3, ketchup on steak. But the full quote is, if the customer wants ketchup on their steak, hand them the ketchup bottle. Just give the person what they want to be successful in the business world. Those were just the big 3 of his catchphrases. He has some other ones like, what's the N-word? It's negate. But Mr. Santos would soon start to have a rise to becoming how we know him today.
December, Era 3, The Rise. This is when everyone realized how tough Mr. Santos is. We started to take notice of the tough catchphrases. We finally realized how insanely tough the handshake was. We realized the potential Mr. Santos has, and we took notice immediately. Mr. Santos would start to take over our lives. He was so goated we couldn't stop talking about him. The glazing was at its top, and we were not going to slow down. But this journey was just getting started.
January to February, Era 4, Prime Santos. These couple months here were definitely the prime of our beloved Mr. Santos. Lots of things to be happy about. For starters, he was genuinely spamming his catchphrases daily. It was constant. It didn't seem like he was slowing down either. The handshake started to feel more powerful day by day. It became the best part of the day. All of his stories became better and better, like the one where he told us after he came back from a trip that he had a freaky nurse. Don't really want to know what he means by that. Mr. Santos was at the peak of his game. On top of all of this also came the start of the Mr. Santos memes, which was an attempt to make Mr. Santos a mainstream meme. I started making a bunch of Mr. Santos memes. It was almost daily. Mr. Santos was always on his A-game daily. Nothing could beat him. And I mean nothing was getting him down.
March, April, Era 5, the cooldown. This is the least known Mr. Santos era, but it's still important to talk about. This is when Mr. Santos slowed down on everything. The use of his catchphrases were slowing, the amount of stories he would tell was winding down, not to mention he started repeating stories. Now, don't think it was his downfall. It most definitely wasn't. He was just winding down and settling in after his prime. Although he did make ketchup shake variants, ranch steak, but soon enough he would be back.
May Era 6, the reprise. Mr. Santos was back and better than ever. First off, the end of the year was soon, so there was a lot to look forward to. But one of the things Mr. Santos taught one is a little thing called Indian wrestling. Indian wrestling was a type of wrestling we'd never heard of, but when Mr. Santos started fighting his students, it was proven that he might not have been able to be beaten. Mr. Santos was back in his prime, and now really nothing can bring him down. The days went until eventually we reached the last day of school. Instead of actually going to our classes, me and all of our friends went to spend the day with the GOAT, Mr. Santos. Now keep in mind, most of us had never met Mr. Santos before. It was going to be interesting. When we got to South Campus, we had to wait for Mr. Santos to show. Honestly, we weren't worried he was here, but then we saw him. He just let us all in the class. He didn't care. Then came the time we all had Indian wrestled with him. And yeah, he beat us all. None of us stood a chance. We played Uno with them children in his classroom until basically the end of the day. We took a group pic and gave him the final handshake. It was one of the best days ever past the GOAT.
The subs. Before we move on, we need to talk about his subs. There were two in particular that were GOATs. First of all, we got Kitten Caboodle, her nickname. Kitten Caboodle was her catchphrase, which was just so tough. Although Mr. Santos had beef with her. Then there was Shuri, who was just a chill sub, who didn't really care all too much. She'll go down in the history books. Too bad she didn't have any catchphrases. Now, there were many more subs, but those were the two most influential ones.
Present day, Era 7, retirement. Now here we are in the present. I personally never met the GOAT, but I know the legend. Mr. Santos is still at South, but unfortunately the school nerfed the hell out of him. Instead of being a GOAT by teaching Algebra 2, now he's forced to do Learning Academy. Everyone is sad about this, but he's still tough even if he doesn't get to do all the tough stuff like he did in his prime. The glory days are over, and now we gotta move on. Matthew and Jayden went to see Mr. Santos. They even interviewed him a bit. Didn't know Plug and Chug was that old, but Mr. Santos could still beat anyone in Indian wrestling. Now Mr. Santos is teaching the new teacher who can take his spot as the next GOAT. He's been doing good. He might never live up to Mr. Santos, but he's definitely a good runner-up. He's nearly as tough as Mr. Santos. The man I'm talking about is, of course, Mr. Wisdom.
2026 and ongoing. The epilogue. After it was all said and done, Mr. Santos announced he would be leaving Essential to go work somewhere else. By the time this comes out, he's probably already left. He said he's leaving because the school has been screwing him over, and I believe it. Mr. Santos will go down in history as the greatest teacher of all time. I don't think anyone comes close to beating him. I just hope he takes his legacy with him to his new school. I hope we all tell the story of him to our grandchildren to keep him with us. Godspeed, Mr. Santos. Until next time.
Mr. Santos will always be tough.
Hey guys, it's me, Mr. Santos. And now I hope you know who I am and how good of a teacher I am. I just want y'all to remember me. Never forget the legacy I have made. Always remember, Plug and Chug. See you guys later. Voiced over by Matthew, Xander, Brandon, Jayden, Gio, Frank the Tank, Dominic, Aiden Moreno, featuring Louis Charles, and of course me, Mr. Santos.